Mars, me personally, if the time came and there was an option to go to Mars, I'm not going, right? I'm staying on Earth. I like Earth way too much, right, to ever be like, oh yeah, let me just go to a red planet like Total Recall, right? There's gonna be a woman with 3 tits and a guy with a distorted face, right? Travis Mate Podcast, or Travis Mate Podcast, the best kept secret. You know why? Because it's a reality show of people doing real things, right, in real life. And if you like these kinds of shows, you basically support freedom of speech, because we are not politically correct over here, and we don't care how you feel about it, and it's for a good reason, right? So if you do like it, like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. If you even like your friends, right? Do you like your friends? I don't know, mate. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Do you even like your family, right? Now that might be a reflection on me, but it's mostly a reflection on you, right? But anyway, you know I say right a lot, right? Because I'm rightly right. When I go right, I go right anyway. When things go right, they go right? And I love it when things go right. Okay, so what we got today?
NASA's Mars lander InSight is dying, and her last message that she sent back
to
Earth
got a broken
is one of the
computer
saddest that I've ever heard. InSight's mission was only supposed to last a few years, but she was able to endure the harsh Martian surface for years beyond. During her mission, InSight captured readings of Martian quakes, which helped them learn about the planet's core, mantle, and crust, and she also helped NASA learn more.
Okay, you probably can't hear that, but I heard that. Basically, that was a shot of the Mars rover, right? Have you ever heard of the Mars rover? It's a little like satellite with all kinds of trinkets, gadgets, and measuring tools on it, right? That they sent up to Mars quite a while ago, right? And apparently it's just sent back the last message it's ever going to send. Don't know how accurate that might be. I might be completely wrong about that, because I could barely hear it as much as you could barely hear it, right? But because this is a real show and we're real people doing real things, technical difficulties are going to happen, apparently, right? Maybe more often than not nowadays, right? Because, the powers that be would love to shut this show down. But anyway, yeah, let's get back to what we're talking about. So Mars, right? Can you imagine what we might find on Mars, right? And there's a lot of people that have this crazy biblical point of view that Elijah and the chariot of fire represents an actual UFO that happened a long time ago, alright? And a section of people on Earth left Earth. I know this is crazy conspiracy theory talk, right? But also crazy bibliophile talk. I don't think that's the same thing, right? But crazy biblical talk, right? Basically, a group of people believe, yeah, and there's other people that believe in other kind of aliens. We'll get into it in a minute, right? But anyway, a group of people believe, yeah, that a chosen group of people on Earth, right? There's always a chosen group of people, it's always a chosen group, right? What about everyone else, right? But anyway, a group of people believe a chosen group of people on Earth were selected by Elijah, right? Can't remember the exact story in the Bible. I don't particularly care, right? With all due respect, and no disrespect intended at the same time, right? But if you're disrespected, yeah. But anyway, a group of people on Earth were selected by Elijah, apparently, right? And they took this chariot of fire, which is the ancient version of a spaceship, right? And they went off into space, right? And that's a whole different civilization. Some people believe that's black people, some people believe that's other people. Just like some people believe the Hebrews are the chosen and all kinds of nonsense, right? But imagine if that idea, right, is translated through time, and that is our so-called aliens that are out there on civilized other planets. It's just us from Earth, like a million or however many thousands of years ago, right? And just imagine we Titan AE'd after Earth, right, and we just restarted, and we had no knowledge of all the brilliant technology and crazy things we already done in time, right? So we're just catching up again. I know this is very science fiction-y, right? But just imagine that is the case, and any potential alien we might encounter outside of us, right, or any other acknowledgeable intelligent life form, right? Because as humans, we expect to see something with 2 arms and 2 legs out there in space to call that an alien, yeah? But what about a bacteria? Bacteria is alien too, wouldn't it be? Another life form that exists on another planet. That is an alien. But because we're humans and we have these ridiculous expectations of things that we haven't seen or heard yet, we think that they're going to be humanoid aliens, right? Which makes no sense. Why would they be if they're an alien? But that's neither here nor there. So back onto the fantasy side of it, right? fantasy, the fans to see, right? Anyway, if there are like, we're being completely hypothetical and ridiculous anyway, yeah? Just so you're aware, right? Don't take this seriously. Don't go back and say, right, Drivers Mate podcast told me that Dr. Yakub created all the white people on earth. Don't do that, yeah? I'm just joking, and I'm being serious, but I'm not being serious at the same time. I'm just giving you a perspective and something to think about during your day while entertaining you, right? Now, imagine if there is another civilization of human beings somewhere out there that's colonized space ages ago in the past, or so far in the future that we can see them, right? Because you've got to remember, when we're seeing the sun and any star we can see from Earth, we're seeing it in the past, right? It could have already exploded thousands of years ago. We're just seeing the aftermath as a little twinkle in the sky, right? So just think about it like that. If time travel is real and humans in the future have already colonized other places, what might that look like in real time, us observing space, right? Just from a pseudo quasi-scientific or science fiction thinking, yeah? So just imagine if there is aliens out there and they've colonized another planet, but they're not actually aliens, they're just us, you know, like in Prometheus, where they went to that, I think it was Prometheus, right? And they went to that place where these humanoid people were already, and then they created that weird, like, the android guy created those weird little aliens from Aliens, right? So just imagine those humanoid characters that formed the planet in the beginning of Prometheus is just us from either the past or the future, right? And people actually believe this. So I know this is ridiculous, right? And it's entertaining me at the same time as it's entertaining you, right? I'm trying to be a better orator, a better storyteller, right? So this is just pure imagination, right? We're putting things from here, we're putting things from there, we're just bullshitting, right? Anyway, if that is the case, yeah, the Mars rover represents that same potentiality, right, for us to actually colonize other planets, and not even just in the Elon Musk sense, right? The actual, in the future, we might be able to terraform Mars, right? We find water there, we find a way to convert it to breathable air. It's only a matter of finding a power source powerful enough on Earth to get us to Mars without having to create a ship that can last 6 or 7 generations of people, right? Because that's how bloody long it will take. Maybe not 6 or 7, let's say about 3 or 4 generations of human beings on a ship, living their full lives, teaching the children how to run the ship and all the information. Then they teach their children before we get to actual Mars, right? Which is in itself, to me, quite questionable, because how the hell did we launched a little space rover to Mars that quickly, but it would take all of us as physical human beings so long to travel there, right? I don't understand the science. Maybe that's bullshit. Maybe that's just YouTube science, right? I don't know, right? Because to me, logically, it doesn't make sense. We can get anyway, from a perspective of terraforming and actually colonizing Mars, we would need a big ass ship, right? And if we got a big ass ship, we would need a big ass power form, right? Or whatever we would power it with, right? A power source. So we've not really discovered that yet, a sustainable, usable power source that is able to power a machine like that. And I don't think, right, to the public knowledge and my knowledge, that we've actually created a ship that's capable of that yet, right? And we're watching Elon Musk and we're watching Jeff Bezos with bated breath, like, wow, are they going to be able to do it, right? But you've got to think, their iterations are really just planes on rockets at the minute, right? We're going to have to think of something more clever than rocket fuel powered propulsion, right? Because it's not going to be enough, right? We're going to have to use so much fuel just to get us out of Earth's atmosphere. Then we're going to have to use so much fuel to propel us in space, right? Someone has to think of something more clever than that, right? And it doesn't have to be warp speed, light speed like Star Trek. It just has to be something clever. It might just be, we might just end up repurposing something we've created somewhere else for that use, right? Because that is usually how it happens in human history, right? We fuck up something over here, then we take that idea, we put it over here, and it works spectacularly, right? That's usually how it happens. But if that is possible, right, and we can do that, then yeah, I can see us being on Mars within the next 100 years, right? Easily. But at the same time, with that whole pseudo-biblical story of Elijah and the chariot of fire, right? And you know, like you have a whole other side tangent, right? Have you ever heard of the Nation of Islam, right? And Farrakhan and Honorable, I don't know why I'm calling him Honorable, because I don't bloody know him, right? Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, have you ever heard of those guys, right? They, in the early 1900s, right? Because I don't know exactly when this happened, but apparently Elijah Muhammad and his teacher before him disclosed some government documents that indicate the existence of aliens or extraterrestrial life form, right? And that whole structure, they maybe have just used it for controversy and popularity politics. I don't know, right? I don't really care. That's a side tangent. But apparently they disclosed something to do with extraterrestrial life visiting Earth and there being flying saucers and all that, right? But you actually hear in modern day, right, you can find speeches of Minister Farrakhan, right? Although he's a banned guy, right? He's not allowed in certain countries. He's not allowed to speak on certain platforms, right? But you can still find people reposting his stuff out there, right? Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, you can still find things of him and his following and the people before him talking about this correlation between Elijah and the chariot of fire to extraterrestrial life, right? Could be nonsense, could just be crazy religious cult stuff. But there's a whole other set of people that believe blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people are aliens too, right? A specific type of alien, right? And it's this crazy tin foil hat stuff, right? And it's entertaining, right? Because me myself, I loved watching the X-Files, right? I watched all of the X-Files up until the season where they started to modernize it and they was using mobile phones and all that. I was like, nah, I'm out. Scully's looking a bit too old. I'm done here. That's when I was like, fuck this, right? What have they done to this show, right? It's too woke, right? So I stopped there, right? But the older seasons, like when Mulder keeps getting close to the truth and then the guy with the cigarettes comes and he just, yeah, it was really good stuff, right? And because those episodes were so standalone, when you did have the long branching storyline that stemmed into other stuff with extraterrestrial life, it was always entertaining, it just was. They came at it with so many angles, like an hour-long show, or so many angles of how aliens can exist and extraterrestrial life, right? It sounds nerdy, but I'm the type of person that would rather watch something that sparks ideas, right, than something that's negative, right? So I'm more likely to watch the X-Files than CSI, right? Because why do I want to sit around watching a bunch of dead people or criminal concepts, right? Why do that? Why not entertain myself with something imaginative that could spark some kind of creative thought, or if not just mystery fictional writings, right? Or potentiality for, I don't know, just using your imagination, right? I know it sounds nerdy, but I can almost guarantee you, right, without floating my ego too much, right, I'm probably way more street than you, right? I'm probably way more gangster than you, which I'm not a gangster. I'm probably tougher than you. I'll probably kick your ass in real life, right? But with that said, I still like sci-fi, right? And I might be uncool, or I might be cool, right? To some people, I'm cool as fuck, and other people, I'm But anyway, that's an ego thing. But I say that to say this: those things have always interested me, right? Just like I'm a black kid that read comics, right, and I watch cartoons, right, and there's a whole other like social political narrative that fits into that. Why would a black kid identify so much with a superhero? Well, because of his socio-economic situation, right? I'm the oppressed, and I would be either looking to become a hero or I'd be looking for a hero, right? That is just the logic of it in a very surface level, right? So something like Superman existing, something like Batman existing, you've got the alien superhero and then you've got the earthly superhero, right? Although they're two white guys, right? Why the hell would an alien be a white guy? But there you go, right? Humans make things with crazy assumptions and crazy biases and we just accept them, right? But why not, right? It's fictional. So if he created it, he's allowed to make it whatever he wants to make it, okay? But that aside, Mars, me personally, if the time came and there was an option to go to Mars, I'm not going, right? I'm staying on Earth. I like Earth way too much, right? to ever be like, oh yeah, let me just go to a red planet like Total Recall, right? And there's gonna be a woman with 3 tits and a guy with a distorted face, right? No, I'm alright in it. What happens if they turn off the fans like Total Recall and it just kills everybody, right? That film shook me up as a kid, as you can tell, obviously, right? But yeah, why the hell would I want to go there, right? If that, just imagine, right, in our lifetimes, that technology was developed, that we could go there, we could terraform it, and we can literally just make Mars look like London, right? Or we can make Mars look like New York, and it just looks like that, right? And if people live there like that, maybe, but I wouldn't be looking to go first, right? Why wouldn't you want to go first? It's like being a test subject or trying the first, I don't know, like we was talking about Neuralink, being the first person to try Neuralink. Nah, I'm alright, thanks. You can go in the history book, but let me know how it goes on the 5th and 6th generation of doing this, right? On Mars, right? Then maybe I'll consider it, but I don't want to be first, right? No. You go over there, you figure out the problems, right? And then you tell me how I can survive over there. Yeah? But maybe you, as a listener, as a viewer, while I pontificate and talk nonsense, might be thinking, actually, I would like to go to Mars. I would like to go to space. Now, would I want to get on one of those Virgin Galactic planes or flights, or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk just going up out of the atmosphere a little bit, yeah, just to see the Earth from up there? Yeah, hell yeah, right? Because why not? The chances of that going wrong is about the same amount of chances of a plane crashing anyway, right? So, hey, at least we got to see above Earth, right? We got to find out if it was a grid, right? We got to find out if it really was 2D, right? Which is not, right? I'm not a flat earther, I don't believe that. But, side tangent, if you've ever watched a film Dark City, right? If you've seen it, it's a cult classic, and I know you love this. But if you haven't, I'm sorry, skip ahead because I'm going to give you a spoiler, right? In Dark City, right, they've basically taken a bunch of human beings off Earth, right? These people are aliens. We don't know all of this to the end, right? This is what makes the film so dope. Basically, aliens, right, that look like humans, have taken a set of human beings off of Earth, and they've built like a little flat platform in the middle of space, just floating out there, right? And they've made the city so it's like all autonomous. They can stop time, put everybody to sleep, and they move the city around, and they do all kinds of experiments, right? But another nice side tangent of this imaginative story that actually exists as a film, right, is they extract their memories and rechange their memories through, like, biologically, right? So they inject them with memories, they extract memories, and then they change their personalities and their actual history, right? But the point of it anyway, you don't find out to the end that it's all, they're aliens and they're floating in space, right? It's called Dark City because the sun never rises. There's no blue skies, it's always nighttime, and they didn't realize why it was always nighttime. It's because they were in space, so of course it's always nighttime, right? It would appear as nighttime, but which has its own connotations, because as a Hollywood film, right, they didn't think about. Anyway, look, I'm not a scientist, I don't know anything about space really, right? But you would see the sun at some point, right? Some light would be on this thing at some point, I imagine anyway, but who knows? It's all fake, it doesn't really exist. But that aside, I forgot what I was going to say. Aliens, right? Alien tangent, right? That's what we were on, right? But anyway, in Dark City, because they experimenting with these humans off the planet, right? And they don't realise they're off the planet. One of them has been like, I don't know why I'm explaining the plot of this story, right? I'm just ruining it. Let's just forget all of this, right? We just got off on a tangent from the very beginning, from technical difficulty. We're just down a rabbit hole of nonsense. But that is a great film. You should probably watch it if you're that way inclined, right? It's not particularly sci-fi. It's more noir, thriller, mystery, yeah? Because I've just ruined it for you, of course. They're aliens. They're in space, and the guy gets superpowers, and yeah, they get to decide what they're going to do from that point on. But anyway, I don't know what I was talking about now. But yeah, if we can do that and space travel like that, I'm down for tourism. But I'm not down for tourism to go to Mars, right? And unless we can go to Mars and come back within a week, I'm not on it, innit? I wouldn't even want to go to the International Space Station. Because why? You know what I mean? Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you get to come out, you get to see if it's all a simulation. That was the point of the Dark City thing. The whole existence on that little spinning, or that little disc that floated in space was all a simulation, right? So yeah, that is another reason why you might be inclined to actually become a billionaire so you can get a golden ticket and go to space and not go into a submarine that gets compressed and explode, right? Yeah, that would be the only thing that I'd be interested in doing at that point, right? Because what normal person is going to get to experience that in this lifetime? We're not unless we get clean energy and we're able to produce the technology fast and efficiently and then make it cost effective, right? I can't see that happening in the next 50 years at the minimum, right? Maybe 50 to 100 years, maybe not, right? But the ideas are there, so that might happen. But for you flat earthers, right, I wonder what your take on aliens is, right? And I wonder what your take on Mars is. Do you even think Mars exists? If you think Earth is a flat disc, do you think other planets exist? Do you think the sun exists? Like, what do you think? Do you think you exist as that dark city environment of just a flat disc with edges, right? And or fucking ice caps at the side? What the hell do you guys even believe, right? Because I've looked at it slightly, but it just seems crazy, right? It's understandable from a historic aspect where history is absolutely riddled with lies, right, and fallacies and inaccurate information, from how maps are drawn back in the day to how maps are drawn now, even though we have satellites now, so they're more accurate. But I understand why people could go down that way of being ultra skeptics, right, of everything, but I don't know, man. Physics would imply otherwise, right? And you see people that they put up an air balloon and they're like, bro, why do you think the Earth curves, right? Why do you think space-time goes like that? So if you take off a plane, when a plane takes off, it has to go like that, right? I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but it can't just take off straight up in the air. It has to go laterally, kind of thing. I'm not explaining it right, anyway. But yeah, I'm not a scientist, and this is all impromptu, nonsensical reactionary nonsense, right? I'm just trying to entertain you, right? And entertain myself on my long commute, right? So yeah, I don't believe the Earth is flat, right? And if we are actually launching stuff out into space, why at this point, why bother lying, right? Of course I'm skeptical about the original moon landing footage, right? There's a lot of inconsistencies, but then there's a lot of credible scientists and people that say no, it's real, right, because of X, Y, and Z, and then you kind of like, appeal to authority, what do we do here, right? And me and you as normal people, we don't really care about appealing to authority, and the type of people we are anyway, we don't really care. But in these instances, what can you do, right? Is the moon like Transformers, Megatron's cube up there? What is happening on the dark side of the moon, right? Why haven't we gone back? And a lot of people will be like, what's the point in going back? We've already been. And then other people will be like, well, okay, why don't we set up a base on the moon before we try to go to Mars? It makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense. But shit, I don't know, man. There's so many things my mind's thinking of right now that just, I couldn't. It's already like a crazy 12 monkey Brad Pitt tangent, like over here and over there and da-da, right? I'm already doing that, right? So if I go any more, it's just gonna be like, oh my god, bro, you're crazy, right? Which I am, right? To an extent, acknowledged. I am crazy because I care. I'm crazy because I'm creative. Crazy because I ask questions, right? I'm crazy because I'm not the norm in the sheep herd, right? But I'm also right, at least 30% of the time. I give myself that grace, right? For the other 70%, nah, maybe it's a little crazy film. But hey, it's entertaining, man. I know it's entertaining because I watch it back all the fucking time. I am my driver's mate, just like you are my driver's mate, and I'm yours, right? So there's that. But anyway, chime in, right? Let me know what you think, right? Have I talked a lot of nonsense, right? Or is there a couple things you can take away from the space rover being the last thing that we're going to put on Mars for now, right? And it's sending back its last message. And you do know, right? There's machinery that we actually have on Earth that has received communications from outside, or signals, right? But we don't have the proper way to decode it, right? So imagine if we're, as Earth, right, let's just imagine there's two Earths, right? And we send out an encrypted message into space. And then the Earth in the future, or the multiverse Earth, receives this message. But when it receives the message, right, or the signal, it picks it up like, oh wow, there's this strange signal, but it's on our spectrum of light, right, or on our spectrum of radiation, on our spectrum of ultraviolet, right? So that's essentially the same spectrum of microwaves and stuff like that. I can't really explain it perfectly, but the light spectrum is the same spectrum of microwave waves, radio frequencies. All of that is in the same spectrum. So let's just say the alternate Earth picks up the signal we send out from this Earth, but then when they see the signal, they're like, okay, there is a signal there, but what encryption is the alternate Earth using, right? We can't decode this message, right? We don't have the technology to see the message, hear the message that Earth has sent, but we can see a signal. So that exists right now, right? They are signals and frequencies we are receiving from space, but we don't know what they are, right? And we don't know how to decode them. We don't have the technology, or we haven't repurposed or discovered our way to read them, right? Just like the Encounter, where the little aliens were doing like their symbols in ink, like octopuses, right? That was just like their perception of time being different to ours, and it was just a whole frequency thing, and it's all nonsense, right? It's all imaginative nonsense. But in the real world, there's real science and real people really on the case, right? It exists, but not like the film world. Tangent again, right? Tangent again. But yes, in my opinion, there is extraterrestrial life, and we eventually will come across it, but it's not we're expecting extraterrestrial life to be in the same physical format as us, right? And it's not going to be. In my personal opinion, why would it be? The Earth is so vast and advanced in species and creatures and bacteria and microbiome and microbiome? I don't know if that's the right word. But so many things on Earth is so intricate that none of them really resemble humans, but they're all alive, right? So for us to just scale that up by billions and billions and trillions of potential stars and planets and meteors and asteroids, there's certainly life outside of Earth, right? But we're saying intelligent life. Are we even intelligent life? Because to whatever's out there might be 1,000 times more intelligent than us and not even have a physical form. So there's that, right? In my opinion, there's definitely life outside of Earth, but it's just not going to be in the algorithm or the pattern that we expect it to be in, right? And it probably has traveled to Earth. But the Mexican little aliens that they pulled out recently that look like cake, which someone made a cake over, right? I don't know about all that shit, man. That is too Men in Black for me, personally, right? Why do they have to be humanoid to be alien? A film person made that idea and it came across in everything else afterwards, right? But it doesn't have to be a humanoid type alien to exist, right? It could be bacterial, it could be a single cell organism, but it's still alive and it's still foreign, which makes it an alien, right? So there's that. An hour later, yeah, let me know what you think, right? Check out at CNCCMI as my main channel, right? That's where the non-crazy stuff is. The non-crazy pseudo-scientific blah 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 stuff is, right? Realistic, actual principled stuff that I know about, right? But over here on the Drivers Mate podcast, we talk about anything, we react to anything, right? And that's the whole point of it. It's supposed to be entertainment and sometimes educational, right? So yeah, check out the other videos in the Drivers Mate podcast. I believe this episode is season 3. Now, if you're watching on the main YouTube on Drivers Mate podcast, you're probably watching by the YouTube schedule, right? So you're probably far behind in season right now. By the time you've seen this, we're probably on God knows what season in the future. If you want to see the seasons real time or binge watch or just scan through and look for the most crazy things that I've said, right? Do it on Patreon. You can go find me on Patreon at Drivers Mate or Drivers Mate podcast, and you will see the up-to-date real-time seasons there, right? And it's about $3 for Americans and between $1 something, £1 something and £2 something in England or Europe, okay? So So over there is the hub of the exclusive content in real time, right? That right there, that piece of thing, whatever that is, that looks like alien technology, right? Anyway, that's a joke. In the X-Files world, that's a serious implication, alright? Anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate your time as always. You can find me on all social medias, whatever you want to do. Shoot me a comment, right? Shoot me an email, a DM, right? Tell me about your encounters with the fourth kind, if any. Ooh, look at that. That's a helicopter with a light on. That looks like an alien UFO, right? And if I was so skeptically inclined, I'd say it was too, but it's definitely a helicopter. Anyway, thank you for your time. I know I'm trolling a little bit, but I'm also serious a little bit as well, right? So know when my trolling is happening and when it's not, if you can decipher it. But anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate you as always. Drivers Mate Podcast or Drivers Mate Podcast. Hope you have a nice day. Hope you're getting the work done. I hope I can entertain you, and I hope you enjoy it, right? See you later.